active life.
Well, new revelations apparently about the Michael Jackson situation. Vanity Fair is reporting, though it's not on the stands yet, they've released the bulk of it to us. They're reporting that Jackson served wine hidden in a Coke can to the 13-year-old he's accused of molesting, and that he's been treated for drug and alcohol abuse on numerous occasions. With us now to talk about that, in Boston, former prosecutor Wendy Murphy, in Denver, defense attorney Geraldine Merritt, and here in Studio B, our senior judicial analyst, Judge Andrew Napolitano. Man, Vanity Fair's got the stuff today. Have you guys all read this thing? They say that he was addicted to drugs, numerous kinds of drugs, including alcohol and the rest of it. Associates have said all kinds of things. The kids in the documentary say the girls are tattletales. Payoffs, millions of dollars to lawyers and accountants and security people. Judge, what do you make of this article?
Well, if he takes the stand, and he almost certainly will take the stand to deny the allegations against him, then virtually everything in this article can be used as an instrument to cross-examine him, Shep, because all of this shows a pattern of behavior in similar circumstances. And this stuff is lurid. I mean, the mob is involved. Sleeping with other boys is involved. Keeping their underwear as a souvenir after they left Neverland is involved. This is the type of information which, once heard by a jury, I think would irretrievably turn them against him.
If heard by the jury. And Geraldine Merritt points out to our bookers in advance of this that no jury's heard this, but jurors may have, Geraldine.
They may, but this is a long time from the trial, and I don't believe a lot of it would come into evidence. With the exception of providing alcohol to the youngsters, most of the rest is irrelevant, even as to issues of his credibility. First of all, the allegations as to his drug usage or being dependent on a drug, on a narcotic drug, there's no connection between pedophilia and use of narcotic drugs. So I don't even see a relationship there.
But this idea that he gave the children Jesus juice and Jesus blood to set them up for what came next, I'm guessing that's somewhat relevant.
Well, yes, I said giving the alcohol to the children would come in, but I don't think that that's true, and I don't know that it's true. Who was interviewed for these stories? I mean, was it disgruntled employees of Michael Jackson who are on a vendetta or who have some kind of
business manager
goal that they're on?
These are fair questions.
You know, these are very good questions that Geraldine is asking. We don't know exactly who was interviewed for the article, but we do know those people will be interviewed by the state as it prepares its cross-examination of Michael Jackson.
Of course, Wendy, when you see things like this, I know how you usually react. Stop it already.
Look, I don't take any joy in watching the case mount against Michael Jackson, but what I do think is important is that the public, and thus the potential jury pool, is at least hearing things that are inconsistent with what the false information has been thus far from the defense camp, which is that Michael Jackson is not the type of guy that would do a harmful thing to a child, and that's why no one should believe this child. He's a big old liar. I mean, what this article includes is stuff that will significantly corroborate the boy in the current case. The fact that the child described Jesus juice and that it was provided to him in a Coke can is consistent with behavior that was both what Michael Jackson did, and it was covert. This isn't something Michael did openly. He did it secretly. That's helpful to the child. The fact that this article reveals the little boy involved in the current case could describe unusual markings on Michael Jackson's penis. I mean, that's exactly what happened in the 1993 case. That is damning evidence, and it is inconsistent with the defense team's claims thus far that Michael Jackson only loves children, only helps children. When you get kids drunk on Jesus juice, there's nothing loving about that. In fact, if I did that, I would be in Jesus jail.
You just heard part of the closing argument for the government in this case. California has a statute which permits the jury to hear prior bad acts if the defendant takes the stand and denies the charges against him. That's why I say virtually all of this a jury could hear with an appropriate and properly crafted cross-examination.
Geraldine, her discussion of how this mirrors what was alleged back in the day, if you will, is dead on. And these are exactly the allegations. That's a family that ended up off on an island somewhere after being, for lack of a better term, to hear it from supporters of that side of the case. I'm being very careful because I don't need a lawsuit. But they were sent away and paid off, according to many.
Well, wait. First, let's talk about your first issue, which is the markings on his genitalia from that the 1993 accuser mentioned. Everyone in America could probably describe those markings because it all made the press. Michael Jackson talked about the indignity of having to sit while the police inspected him there and described it on public television. I mean, this is no secret, the markings on his genitalia.
I don't know what they are, Geraldine. Do you?
I don't know. We're not going to find out here. I can guarantee you that.
I have read accounts of it. Anyway,
I haven't. I'm not gonna.
Okay, wait a minute. The mother reportedly, according to the February 10th New York Post, people were bidding $80,000 to have an interview with her after the documentary aired last year.
Here we go.
So that's irrelevant. So I really have trouble believing anything that this family says.
Make a
Brady Bunch. Brady Bunch. Alice has to get to the kitchen. Thank you all very much. Coming up from Studio B next, New Hampshire voters getting another visit from a big politician. This time it's a man already in the Oval Office. President Bush and Skinnerville and the rest. Coming up.